Good afternoon. I'm calling to order the House Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. It is Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, 2 p.m. We're in conference room 423. All right, we'll just get right into it with SCR 186 requesting the Insurance Commissioner to conduct a comprehensive study on wildfire risk and insurance, including market-based approaches. First to testify on this measure, we have Gordon Ito from DCCA with comments.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Gordon Ito testifying on behalf of DCCA. We sat on a written testimony offering comments. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Okay, seeing none, we'll be moving on to SCR 183 SD1, urging the Department of the Attorney General to investigate and enforce applicable laws against landlords who are ending rental agreements to house FEMA-eligible households through the District Lease Program or the Department of Human Services Rental Assistance Program. I don't see any submitted testimony on this measure. Is there any other person here to testify? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to SCR 115. This is encouraging developers to incorporate net zero water building strategies when constructing and renovating housing projects in the state. First to test, we have written testimony. Is anyone here to provide oral testimony? Okay, seeing none, members, we do have written testimony from the HHFDC with comments and Ulu Pono Initiative in support. Okay, moving on, we have SCR 97 SD1 HD1 requesting the Hawaii State Energy Office to convene a renewable liquid fuels working group to study local production development and incentive for renewable liquid fuels. First to testify, we have the Hawaii State Energy Office in support.
Aloha Chair Nakashima, Vice Chair Sayama, and members of the committee. Munashir Silverberg on behalf of the Hawaii State Energy Office, and we stand on our written testimony in support.
All right, thank you. Next we have Lori Lum from Airlines Committee of Hawaii in support. Okay, not here. We'll be moving on. Oh, hello. Oh, this is SCR 97 HD1.
Lori Lum on behalf of the Airlines Committee of Hawaii, and we stand in support of the resolution. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Next, we have Chris Bennett from Pono Pacific in support.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Chris Bennett from Pono Pacific. We will also stand on our written testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mark Inoue from PAR Hawaii in support on Zoom.
Well, Chair Nakashima, Vice Chair Sayama, and members of the committee, Mark Inoue from PAR Hawaii. We stand on our testimony in support. I'll be here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here to testify on this measure? Please go ahead.
Hi. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I apologize we didn't get our written testimony in on time, but thank you for the opportunity. Hawaii Gas would respectfully like to request to be added back on to the working group. As in terms of the producers and the developers and the whole ecosystem of everything else, renewable diesel is actually a big part of our decarbonization strategy. So we have talked to the HSCO and they're willing to have us be added back on to the working group. So we'd just like to respectfully request that.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony in support from the Hawaii Farm Bureau, Airlines for America, Island Energy Services, Hawaiian Airlines, and that is it. Okay, members, any questions?
Question.
Representative Bellotti.
It's a procedural question. If there's a change to add back on Hawaii Gas that could then muck up this resolution, there is a clause in here that says any others as invited by the chairperson. So would the chairperson be willing to invite this group back? Is I guess my question. I don't know who the chairperson currently is, or who the chairperson would be.
Gail Suzuki-Jones, the Hawaii State Energy Office. I'm not the chairperson, but I'm representing the office today. And we're going to have to take that back to our office just to see. I mean, there is some flexibility, as you noted. So we, if it is going to muck it up, we have to weigh that and then also get your input to see what is worth doing at this point and then worth waiting to see as we develop this.
Okay, I guess, again, just procedurally.
Yeah, thank you for-
Any change
yeah.
to this then does actually kill the working group potentially.
Oh,
That's
okay.
not something we would want to.
We
do.
didn't realize that, yeah.
Would you like
yeah.
to change your testimony, perhaps?
Maybe
Maybe
we'll,
not.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe we'll, I don't know how you feel, Julie, but we don't want to muck up that whole, and, take out the whole working group with this. So perhaps we can remain flexible and add them on as we proceed.
Especially because there's flexibility.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Chair.
it.
Thank you. Members, any further questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to SCR 23SD1, urging the Department of Health to amend the Hawaii administrative rules to authorize licensed dietitians to prescribe modified diets and plan therapeutic diets. On this measure, we have written testimony. Is there anyone here to submit oral testimony? Okay, seeing none, we do have written testimony with comments from the Hawaii Department of Health as well as two individuals in support. Okay, finally, we'll be moving on to SCR 34, requesting the Hawaii Medical Association and Hawaii Psychiatric Medical Association to convene a roundtable to establish medical protocols to ensure that an individual's thyroid function is tested before psychotropic medications for mental illnesses are prescribed. I believe we did receive one late written testimony. Are there any other persons here to testify in person? Please go ahead.
Dear sirs, I support Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 34. Thank you for allowing me to testify today. It is an honor and a privilege. In my opinion, the Consumer Protection Committee is the most important committee at the legislature. Protection is what I do. I am the current chair of the Protection and Advocacy for Individuals with Mental Illness, PAMI. I am a board member of the Hawaii Disability Rights Center. We protect the rights of all those with disabilities. Until recently, I was a member of the Patient Protection Committee at the Hawaii State Hospital. I was appointed to this committee during the years of the consent decree by Department of Justice Attorney Mr. Verlin Deerenwater. I do not speak for any of these fine entities. My thoughts and opinions are my own. This is what this resolution is all about, testing for a thyroid condition before any psychotropic medicines are dosed. Hyper and hypothyroidism mimics exactly the symptoms of bipolar disorder. The good news is it has been 16 years since our last psychiatric hospitalization. Prior to this, it was once a year, sometimes twice a year in a psych ward. My daughter was misdiagnosed and was in a vegetative state for 8 months. Dr. Douglas Cooper at the state's Wahiawa Clinic correctly diagnosed her. While lithium works very well for some psychiatric disorders, it is the worst medicine if it is a thyroid condition. I am asking the state to have the thyroid testing done before any psychotropic meds are dosed. Clinical labs will do it for $58. The results within 1 hour if there is a thyroid issue. Doctors once took an oath, first do no harm. Horrendous harm can be done with a misdiagnosis. You have this power. Please don't let this happen to another family. I am a mama on a mission, and my name is Pauline Arellano. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here to testify? Please come up.
Honorable Chair Nakashima, Acting Chair Sayama, and CPC committee members. I'm Dr. Joe Ritter, testifying in support. This bill is personal to Representative Amato and myself and our family. Since youth, Teresa's daughter Gabby had a virtually non-functioning thyroid. Last month after moving, while waiting for new health care to kick in, Gabby, who's not normally in need of any mental health care or psychotropics, was hospitalized with a preventable temporary hypothyroid psychosis known as myxedema. The precise topic of this resolution. Initially, she requested her new provider perform a thyroid test as she felt ill. They could not schedule it. Then she went to the hospital and treatment was refused. Gabby developed serious symptoms, spent days in an emergency unit, and they had no idea how to treat her. For several days, she suffered greatly. Fortunately, after days of suffering, I was able to speak with her physicians and instruct them on correct testing protocols and let them know the primary cause. Blood tests are automatically drawn in such events. to determine if drug abuse is the proximate cause. But here, a $50 test could have saved Gabby and could have saved Pauline's daughter, Brandy, from being turned into a vegetable and incurring at least $500,000 in expenses to the state of Hawaii. Simple, cheap testing recommended in this resolution would have prevented both patients suffering and also use of expensive medical resources, not to mention both of them could have been severely hurt or died. Every sibling in my family is a doctor, and doctors need to make medical decisions, not lawmakers. I understand that. And lawmakers do need to listen to medical organizations and experts on bills. But to be clear, this resolution does not dictate medical policy. It just initiates a roundtable discussion with HMA. Please protect victims that cannot protect themselves, and consider, if you feel like it, naming this Brandy's resolution after Pauline's daughter. Thank you for your time and listening to my testimony on this bill. I want to add there was a second, I brought two, since testimony is not available online. I've written testimony, and this one is also in support from Lou Erdicek, the Executive Director of Hawaii Disability Rights Center, and so you have copies of these as well.
Thank you. Any further testimony on this measure? Okay, seeing none, we'll be taking a short recess for decision-making. Recess. Good afternoon. I'm reconvening the House Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. Going right into decision-making, for SCR 186, we'll be deferring this measure at this, was requested to have additional funding, which we are not, at this point, providing. Next, we have SCR 183. We'll be passing this measure out as is. Okay, members, any comments? Seeing none, Chair for the vote.
Okay, noting the current presence of the Chair, Vice Chair, Rep. Amato, Bellotti, Hashem, and Perrick, are there any noes? Any reservations? Chair, motion is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 115. We'll be passing this measure out as is. Members, any comments? Okay, seeing none, Chair for the vote. As is.
Recommendation, Vice Chair, is to pass unamended. Chair and Vice Chair are present, as well as Representative Amato, Bellotti, Hashem, and Perrick. Are there any noes? Any reservations? Motion is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 97, SD1, HD1. We'll also be passing this measure out as is, noting that the task force does have the flexibility to add additional members if necessary. Without any comments. Representative Bellotti.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. In the testimony before, I made some confusing remarks. Any amendments to this would have to be accepted by opposing or chambers across from us. So this does have to go back for an agreement. So I will defer to whatever recommendation the chairs makes. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Bellotti. Any other comments? Seeing none, Chair for the vote as is.
Okay, Chair and Vice Chair, Representative Amato, Bellotti, and reservations for Representative Amato. Any other noes or reservations? Okay, measures adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 23, SD1, we'll be passing this resolution out as is. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Chair for the vote as is.
Okay, Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Amato.
Aye.
Representative Bellotti.
Aye.
Representative Hashem. Aye. Representative Perrick.
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Okay, thank you. Finally, for SCR 34, we'll be passing this resolution as is. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Chair for the vote.
Okay, Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Amato.
Aye.
Representative Bellotti.
Aye.
Representative Hashem. Representative Perrick.
Aye.
Okay, motion is adopted.
Thank you, everyone. This hearing is adjourned.